Welcome to Loving Life, a guide to a positive mindset. I'm your host, Lisa. I'm a mindset and energy coach, and each week you'll discover mindset shifts, energy practices, and real life tools to help you feel more confident, calm, and in flow, because you deserve to love the life you're creating. I'm so glad you're here with me. Let's get going on today's episode. Welcome back to Loving Life. This week we are talking about those times when you just feel flat, even when everything is fine. Like there are just times when life feels a little bit dull, like you've lost your spark. That's what we're going to talk about this week. Before we go into that, I just want to say thank you to all my listeners in Bristol. You are at the top again this week, and it's closely followed actually by Ashburn in Virginia and then Sheffield. So we've got some different names at the top again this week, which is really lovely to see. But wherever you are listening from, wherever you are, welcome and thank you so much for choosing to listen, choosing to come back, and hopefully sharing with people who you feel might enjoy this as well. Those kindly asking for an update on Rosie, she's doing really well. The operation that she had to have was actually to remove a small cancerous lump on her leg. Now, that has been removed, and I don't know if you've been following my Instagram stories, but where it was removed, she had the cutest bandages or casts put on her leg, and they kept coming off. So we had to keep taking her back to the vet. And every time we took her back, the nurse would make a new bandage for her and would come up with different decorations to go on the bandages each time. And the best one was the hungry caterpillar. Honestly, it's so lovely to know that Rosie was so looked after. Yeah, she's recovering well, and I will keep you updated. So, getting back to this week's episode. Last week, we talked about that feeling of safety that we all need. Safety to be ourselves, safety to not have to worry about everything. And that was linked to the root. Now, what we're talking about today is joy and emotional flow. So, have you ever had those phases where life is fine? Nothing is really wrong. You are getting on with things, but everything just feels a bit flat. Like you're going through the motions, you're ticking things off your to-do list, but something just feels a bit missing. So today we're talking about joy, emotional connection, and feeling like yourself again. So we're going to take a look at which energetic part of us this links to. We are going to look at what you could look out for on signs that it could be not flowing as nicely as you'd like it to, and what it looks like when it is flowing well. I'll give you a couple of practical things that you can try to help this energetic part of you flow again nicely. And yeah, that's it really. So I'm going to be making a bit of a series out of this. Now, this is actually one of the probably least talked about energetic parts of us. And I'm not sure why, because when this part of our life feels switched off, everything can feel dull. And let's be honest, that is not loving your life. So even when everything looks okay on paper, even when you should be happy, you should be positive, when you're missing that spark, that actually has such a huge effect on your vibration, on your mindset, on your outlook. So let's have a look at that today. So the energetic part we're talking about today is the sacral. It's the part of us that governs our ability to feel, to enjoy, to connect, and experience pleasure in everyday life. So this also covers creativity, our passions, the things that get us excited. So what does this actually all look like in real life? So when the energy isn't flowing as nicely in this area, we might notice things like scrolling your phone instead of doing things that you used to enjoy. You might be feeling a little bit disconnected from yourself, like you've lost your spark. You might be struggling to feel excited about things that you know that you should enjoy, or things that you do normally enjoy. You might find yourself just feeling meh and not knowing why. You might find it hard to be present because your mind is always elsewhere. Maybe you're feeling like life has become a list of responsibilities rather than something you experience, something you enjoy. And you might also feel that you don't really know what you want anymore, just what you need to do. It's like you're just, like I said, you're just moving through the motions. You're moving through life, but you're not fully in it and experiencing it, living it. Does that make sense? So some of the physical and emotional signs that you might be experiencing this, you might notice that you have a low energy or a heaviness, a heavy feeling. You might be feeling emotionally flat or numb. You might have tension in the hips or the lower abdomen, because that is where the sacral is located, is in the lower abdomen. So obviously, anything that's connected to that area is going to feel the energy. So whatever energy you're carrying there, the rest of the surrounding area is going to feel that. You might have low motivation for things that you used to enjoy. You might be craving a distraction. So like I said about scrolling, you might find yourself snacking even, like when you wouldn't normally. You might be feeling drained rather than energized by your day. And we all know there can be many things that affect this. So as we've spoken about recently, it's so important to know your cycle, to know your rhythm, to know where you're at hormonally and emotionally, so as you kind of know what step to take next or what to just accept. So it sometimes just feels like a disconnection when it's an emotional or energetic issue. So when the sacral is flowing nicely, you might notice things like laughing more easily, enjoying small moments, like walking, music, or a conversation. Like, when you put music on and you can't help but dance around the house. You feel more present in your day rather than constantly just rushing through it. You will notice little sparks of inspiration or ideas again. You might even find yourself being creative. If there's a creative passion that maybe you used to have and you feel the urge to get your paintbrushes back out again, or that's me speaking personally there, or getting out in the garden, anything that you enjoy or have enjoyed in the past doing creatively, you might find yourself doing it again when the energy is flowing nicely in that area. You might experience moments of genuine enjoyment rather than just ticking boxes. And when we start to intentionally improve the energy, the feelings in this energetic part of us, life doesn't necessarily change overnight, but it just starts to feel like more of an experience, not just something that you manage, something that you are. Like, the only way I can explain it is like, those times when you're just walking through life like a zombie. Like, how did I get here? When was the last time I enjoyed anything? And you will just gradually start to notice that you feel more excitement about things. So let's have a look at some things that we can do to try and encourage the emotions that will start to stir that energy back up again. So choose something that you used to enjoy and do it without turning it into a task. So like for me, like I just said, I recently got my paintbrushes out again. And in the past, I've said, right, I'm going to do painting on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's just an example. But then when it comes to Monday and Tuesday, if I get it out and I'm not really feeling it, then the spark kind of goes. Just get it out when you feel that creative nudge. Do not turn it into a task. Do not try to be productive. Do not try to fit into any expectations. And I know this sounds a little bit like, well, what am I supposed to do then? And trust me, I get it. But when you start turning things into a routine, it starts to take the excitement out of it. Just go with the flow and pick something that you are feeling that day. You could also listen to music properly, not just having music on in the background. Create yourself a high vibe playlist, something that gets you moving, gets you jumping around the house like no one's watching. And if it needs to be when no one's watching, then that's fine. Take your opportunity when no one's watching. Go for a walk without a podcast, unless you're listening to mine, of course, then that's allowed, obviously. But seriously, go for a walk without any distractions, doing something creative, even if it's only for 5 minutes. Like I said, do not turn it into a task or into a routine. Just enjoy it, even if it's for 5 minutes. And sitting in the sun with a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever it is you drink. The goal here isn't to fix anything. It's just about reconnecting with joy, things that you enjoy doing. So maybe now you might take this opportunity to ask yourself, when was the last time I genuinely enjoyed something without rushing through it? And you might be wondering, how do we end up feeling like this in the first place? And quite often it's not one big thing. Yes, of course, when we suppress emotions and when we allow ourselves to live in doing mode, when we feel guilty for rest or pleasure, sometimes it's not just one big thing. Sometimes it's a build-up of pushing through responsibilities, not giving yourself much space to actually feel or enjoy things. You've got such a big to-do list that you don't give yourself time to just do nothing or see what you fancy doing. Sometimes it's even from just getting used to putting yourself last, or feeling like you should always be productive. And over time, that connection to joy and emotional flow can just quieten down a little bit because you've actually forgotten how to enjoy things. It's not that your joy has disappeared, it's just that you haven't prioritized it. So if any of this has resonated, then get listening to the music, get creative, even if it's for 5 minutes. Do those 1 or 2 of those actions. And quite often, if I notice a lack of energy in that area or a build-up of negative energy, then I will tap the area just to reactivate it a little bit. So that's something you could try as well. So the sacral is about 2 inches underneath your belly button. You could just give that area a little tap and tell the energy to wake up. It's all about intention. If anything in this episode is resonating with you, you'd really love my inner circle. It's where we explore these emotional layers, these energetic parts of us, month by month. So instead of trying to change everything at once and just adding to the overwhelm that we already feel, we take it one step at a time and you start to feel calmer, clearer and more like yourself again over time. If you want to hear more about the inner circle when the doors open again, make sure you head to the show notes and pop your name on the list and you'll be the first to hear when the doors have opened again. And I'm even going to offer a trial session so you can try it for free. In next week's episode, we're going to be looking at confidence, self-trust, and how we show up in the world. So make sure you come back and give that episode a listen, and I will see you then. Have an amazing week. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and if you're listening on Apple, as 95% of you do, review. It really helps the podcast reach more people who are ready to shift their mindset and raise their vibration. And if you know someone who would benefit from today's episode, feel free to share it with them. Until next time, keep loving life and know that I'm sending you so much love.